Hi, Ravit. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Vidhi. Such a pleasure to be on your podcast. Been hearing a lot about it. I've already been watching the episodes in the great work that you're doing in this space with this podcast. So yeah, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, likewise. And Ravit, when I started the podcast, I touched upon multiple dimensions of it. The intention was originally to start with the technology side,
Yeah.
and very soon I realized that there is lot many more dimensions to scale than just engineering. So whenever we talk about it, it's not
Yeah.
just limited to how do you scale the infrastructure or users,
Mm,
or even for that matter, the market growth, right? If I
right.
have to give one word to scale, it would be growth. And
Mm.
talking about growth, you have a lot of people that follow you and they look up to you for all things data science, and they, I think, would be really interested to know your professional journey to scale, from where you started, how you navigated this journey.
Yeah, I think that's a great, topic to start with, and definitely what you have identified in terms of not only just talking about the nerd data things, rather also focus on, different aspects of data science, data engineering, and other topics. So, which is great. So, just to give a little background about myself, obviously, I have spoken about it multiple times that I come from a finance background. I've done my MBA in finance. I've done my executive MBA from IIM Indore, and then it was back then itself when I was studying. I kind of realized that okay, data science is something which is was kind of booming at that time. But at the same time, when I was working in the balance sheet, doing all those reconciliation and all of those things, I kind of felt that I want to do something more in numbers itself, and what is the what is that I could do. And I remember my first gig was something, and I was lucky enough to get into that bit where I worked for a market research company. And what we basically used to do was collect those primary and secondary data. And collecting that primary data means, we used to actually create reports on various topics. It could be anything, it could be a mobile market, it could be a pen market. I remember in the healthcare, we also created a report around glioblastoma, which is a cancer. So, we had to get the data from actual people, which is the primary data, calling people, going on field, and also getting that data. And not only just that, the secondary data where you're more reliant on the data, which is already available on internet, and extracting that data, looking at, the authenticity of data, because there's a lot of data and you really can't measure what, you really can't say what's the right data. So working around it, I remember we were a very small team when we started that. It was around 10 people, and we used to create a report which used to have like 300 to 400 pages, everything talk about, starting from the market, the world market, the regional market, the continental market, cities, even, having that top down approach to something which is the local areas. For a few reports, we also went down to that type of data, which was obviously if it was available. So we did that, but soon, being in that gig, I kind of realized that data is gonna play a very, very big role. And that's where I started developing my interest in data. And then I remember Pact happened, and Pact is an IT publishing which is based in UK. I was closely working there in various roles. I started with something which was acquisition editor. Actually a commissioning editor. Basically, I used to look after books in data science and AI and find those gaps where people would want to learn more about it. If you're hearing about Chat GPT today, I remember, back then we were also having a few books on GPT itself and what they are doing. So, to that level of research, what's next that can boom? And sometimes it might not boom as well. But I started, working in that space with Pack Publishing. I did a lot there as well, where I was closely working with, these tech authors, just to make sure that their books are amplified at a global level. And that gave me a amazing platform as well, where I could, showcase something that I was working on. And obviously, it was a joint venture with the author, like that partnership, and I acted as a bridge between those learners or those who are IT professionals, to bridge that gap for them in terms of the learning. But I also did a lot around, helping them to they can learn from these books, and that also brought back value to back publishing. So that was, a good platform for me to understand that, this is something people like. Learning education is the first thing whenever I, talk about when I was in the education system. It was like, I want to do this for the community. I started having that mindset, and after a while you kind of feel responsible as well, that you have to do something for the community. The community kind of starts expecting, Ravit, which is the next book that is coming up? Do you have any books around this? Or can we write a book because we have this proposal? So all those kind of things, kind of come together, and you also kind of have kind of get an opportunity to see that where how big the space is. And it was just data science and AI. So I was pretty much interested in, soon after that as well, what I felt was, now since I feel okay, I'm responsible for the community, I should be doing something for them. And what I started was, that's when I started the Ravit show, where I felt that, okay, this is a platform. What I'll do is basically bring in all types of leaders in your, who are enterprise leaders, who are solution centric folks, who are solving great problems, who are now making unicorns as well. Just bring them on the show live, where folks can actually ask them questions one on one, and not every day, where the community gets an opportunity to ask a CEO question, but this could be their opportunity. They can learn from this. And that's how I started the show. The community likes it because it's more on the side where we kind of go out and take a lot of questions from the community. I give them that opportunity where they can learn. And this is what, I felt very confident about, because I already knew the community very well when I was working with Pack Publishing. But then this happened. Currently, I work for AtScale as a head community evangelist, and I make sure that we are getting the community right insights about semantic layer, and making sure that we are engaging with the experts who know about the bit, and if they can share their thoughts around it, it always helps. We have our own podcast. I'm producing a podcast which is hosted by Dave Mariani. It's data driven podcast. I'm making sure that the blog strategy kind of is working very well in terms of making sure that the content that people are reading is again educational. We don't, obviously, at scale, we make sure our first rule is, it's not salesy. We don't want to go out and get those sales, but we want to make sure that people are learning first what it is. And yeah, so I those are two gigs currently. What I do is, I have my own baby, which is the Ravit show, and then have my gig at scale as a head community evangelist, helping the community to get closer to the semantic layer. And yeah, that's a little background about myself and what I'm currently doing. But I hope this helps the community and your audience for sure.
Your love for numbers from the time that you were in the finance domain to the numbers that you're doing with data science, it's been quite a journey. And
Right.
so now that you're playing a role of an evangelist as well, so can you like zoom in a bit of what is the role of a community head as compared to an evangelist? Are they two the same role, or there's a difference? Yeah.
So there's a thin line difference, when you talk about community manager. Obviously, it looks like where you are only focused on community, whereas an evangelist has that type of responsibility as well, where you're not only just looking after the community, what the community is talking about, that's the space in general, what they are talking about. If they want to learn more about your product, you are actually joining those dots with being a community, wearing that community manager hat. But when it comes to evangelism, obviously you want to also make sure where you're going out with a voice about why semantic layer or why this technology. So that is very important when it comes to community evangelism. But again, it's not limited to that. You need to also connect dots with people in there, with community manager as
Yeah.
well. But community manager is more on the lines where I feel it's always where the folks who are already using your product or your technology, you're kind of catering more towards them, or you're handling them But when it comes to evangelism, it's more also around the lines where you're going out there on your own, meeting people, making sure that you kind of also getting them closer to what you're kind of building. And these could be experts. You need to also engage with experts. And then again, building content out of it. Evangelism also has a role where if you are, building good content, it's a little different from what the content managers are doing, but it's a close collaboration with them because they have that type of content strategy in mind. They want to go around with that okay, we have like say 20 blogs which are coming this year, but we also want like if we can do podcasts, so who would be managing those podcasts? It can be a community evangelist, because a community evangelist can bring on those experts on board who can talk about those certain topics that a content manager is thinking around. So
Yeah.
also connecting dots again internally with the company content strategy. So it's a bit of all the mix that you're talking about. As a community evangelist at scale, I also make sure that I look after the social channels. So that's an additional advantage, being a evangelist. You can have that in your court if there's no one who's handling, so you can always say that okay, I would like to take that up. And
Yeah.
AdScale is pretty cool that way, where you kind of get a lot of uh, like there's a lot of openness if you want to go and try, and you get that free hand, so which is very much beneficial. You can do various things, so your job never gets boring, rather you're always busy, and which is good. So yeah, I think that's like a thin line difference, but I don't think community manager or evangelist has like a lot of differences, where it's
Hmm.
more again in both the roles. You need to be the people's person. You need to be out there for people to make sure that you are solving those right problems for them in any which ways. And
Hmm.
that's what they'd expect from you. That if someone comes to me and tells me, Ravit, do you have a book on semantic layer? I need to go out to the content manager. I need to go out, check myself. Okay, this is the book that would cater you. Or maybe if I have questions for that person, I need to solve those types of problems as well, which is which should be interesting. If you are a people's person, you will also enjoy that conversation, because you can take that and leverage it to another level, where you can
Yeah.
always say that what are they into, and create those types of relationships. So I think that's what basically evangelism rotates around. But still, when it's about community, you need to wear many hats. You need to be out there. You need to make sure that the company that you're representing,
Hmm.
you're bringing in the right quality content for them as well. So I think these are a few points that I have around the community manager and being an evangelist. Like that's a bit of difference. That's it.
Yeah, actually, those were not few points, those were many points. And I can see that you are being a people person, right? Like, I think that's the key takeaway I have, that you go out in the public, you understand what the gap is, what people are looking for in terms of maybe upskilling and reskilling themselves, which is need of that. Technology is all
Right.
about that, right? When you understand that and you go back, like either you see if it's a gap, you try to fill the gap with the right experts, or you just map them to the right place where they should learn that. So it's quite a lot
Right.
of work, and I guess a lot of time investment goes into this, Ravit. So if I say that anything that we do, we kind of expect certain returns from any particular charter that we pick up in our lives, right? So I know that your initiatives, they have a greater impact on the people who follow you and the audience who listen to you, right? I know that there are a lot of people who do that. But in terms of the takeaways that you have
Yeah.
from that entire setup, that or gamut of things that you do, what would be your ROI of time in this?
So basically, I feel, the biggest investment that you do, like I've done of my time, is into distributing the content to people and reaching that content to various types of people. It's not limited. I never say my audience is limited to just beginner level, senior
Yeah.
level, or mid level. I try to, keep that balance for all of these folks. Like I also have a topic on the Ravit show, which can talk about, how to break into data science, and something which is also talking about modern data stack at a enterprise level, where an executive C-suite person is coming in and talking about, various things, what's important about modern data stack. So I kind of want to cater to all the levels, and that's what I've been doing. And the biggest ROI when I go out there and see is, again, the numbers where, okay, people are following you, people expect that out of you. I'm not a numberish person that, oh, I should have like 200K followers or anything, but it kind of keeps you at a run where you feel responsible that, okay,
Yeah.
this person is talking about it, it has helped you. And the person who, obviously, uh, and that's a very good thing where, my content that I'm putting out, even if it's a content which is written by someone in the community, and that person has said that, oh, okay, Ravit, would you like to share it with your audience? It would be a good shout out. And that content has actually helped someone to crack an interview. So that's like the biggest, win for you when you are in the community. And I feel that's like the best return on investment. But at the same time, it also opens up a lot of doors of opportunities for you. Like for me, in a way where I get to interview the best people in the industry who are making unicorns, and not every day where they'll be, accepting all the interviews. Because obviously they have that time constraint, they have that,
Yeah.
obviously they just want to make sure that if they are spending an hour on a show, they want to create that huge impact in
Hmm.
various ways where it will help a lot of bigger audience and a larger audience. So that's become a little easier. So that's a good return on investment what I'm doing for the community. Because then again, I'm with interviewing those folks, what my investment, it's like a rollover investment. What I kind of get, I invest again for the community building. And I just feel proud about what I'm doing for the community. And not bragging about it, but I just, you kind of feel confident, you kind of
Yeah.
feel nice about it. And yeah, that's pretty much it in terms of the ROI, I feel, to be honest.
Yeah. And coming to talk of it, Ravit, I think I'm not a master, so I've not done masters, right? To be very frank. But when you mentioned that you've studied finance and executive program as well and those things, people handling, people management, the connect that you have with the people, and like you mentioned, the executives or C-suite people who might not be very easily available for everyone's invite, like
Exactly.
when you are able to do that and when you're able to squeeze that time out of their calendar, right? It's a difficult thing to do, I believe, and you're able to cater to all kind of people. So this is something that is not taught in schools or something, or is it? Or you can tell me from where did you learn this thing?
Yeah, to be honest, it's a very good question. I've been asked this so many times that, okay, whatever you learned in your MBA schools or executive, this no one can teach you. So
Yeah.
what's the trick behind it? Do you have a secret sauce? To be honest, there's no secret sauce. It obviously, one secret sauce is the community that you have. If you have
Yeah.
a good community that follows you while you're sharing good content for them, that helps you with that push. But I've always been very straightforward about what I want in terms of, if I'm even reaching out to Elon Musk tomorrow, I can't write a mail which will talk about numbers. Rather, I'll just focus on something what he has built, and what he's doing, and basically put it out that way. Maybe that outreach and that first message is the main thing that kind of would make it or break it. Because trust me, 90% of the executives, even if you send an email to Elon Musk today, it might be possible that he reads it, if it's the right email, for sure. So it is possible that he reads it. So that's your make it or break it. So if you have that intriguing email that he would open, he read it, and he feels that, okay, Vidhi has something super interesting that she's doing, and her journey looks interesting. Let's maybe learn more about it. And not like he would end up coming on your podcast, or he would end up to what you are requesting. But again, it can bring you a lot of opportunities if he feels that, oh no, Vidhi is a top notch data engineer, she should be in Tesla working with our team. It would be good to just get that understanding. He might say, okay, let's get on a call for 15 minutes, and that's your opportunity where you've just got the right hook. And most of the sales people tell me this, that, Ravit, okay, we are people's person. We want to make those sales. We want to get to the top enterprise leaders. Do you have any suggestion? I'm like, I don't have any suggestions. Maybe just the suggestion that I have is don't sell anything. Don't have that intention. And sometimes also understanding the gap, like, if Elon Musk is just starting with Twitter, say, and then if you can actually discuss about it, and if you have the right knowledge, and if obviously you have always focused on it, that's the right audience. You can go away and you've had that type of lineup as well, so you can always reach out. So I think keeping it very simple, making the first impression count, and obviously your community, when they back you, it becomes a little easier.
Yeah.
But that's the only secret sauce. We all, in the end, I feel, just remember one thing: all are humans in the end, and it's just the time that kind of matters. Like, time is the only thing which is variable here, and that kind of goes your way or goes against you. So if you have that right messaging, if you have that right intention, sometimes it goes long way, and then it's like a domino effect, to be honest. Once you have, like, also, yeah, that's one of the things where you also have like these folks whom you have had on your show, and they've spoken about something which is also interesting to your next guest. It becomes easier because they also
Hmm.
know that, okay, their peers or their competitors have spoken about this, and now they are getting a chance to be on the show to talk about something that they have built. It's always a win-win. I Even on the show, where it's just about the audience, what they are doing, and one thing that I've always one thing to keep in mind, to be honest, when you are reaching out, is have a vendor agnostic or free thought. Don't have those biases. Have your opinion for sure, but don't have those biases, because being a people's person, you need to learn more,
Yeah.
understand more, listen to the professionals more, and then obviously share your opinion. But again, because you are in that business, you can't afford to have your own, like, don't take sides. Rather,
Yeah.
if you have your opinions, definitely share. So all these things kind of help you to at least helps me to get on the roll, and make sure that I can reach out to anyone
Hmm.
who kind of fits in my audience as well, and my community kind of also feels uh, interested. If tomorrow, to be honest, if tomorrow I bring up someone who's Elon Musk is huge. If we bring him up, obviously everyone's interested. But if someone else comes in who's not from data science and AI, and is, say, has good understanding in different field, talk about chemical industry, and he's a top-notch person there, my community won't
Accept
be
it.
able to
Yeah.
relate. Yeah,
Yeah.
they'll be like, oh, okay, chemical, we don't understand. We follow Ravit to understand data science and AI. So stick to that. We love the content. We'll follow you. If it's an
Hmm.
intriguing conversation, we'll engage. And yeah, so I think pretty much keep a tight hold on something what you are focused on, and it will help you go a long way.
Yeah, and Ravit, somewhere when you mentioned that, having a community-backed support plays a big role. So
Yeah.
I think standing today, when you say it makes all sense, but when you were starting out, or maybe for somebody who
Uh,
is starting out from scratch today, what part of that advice that you gave would change? Like, what would be those extra points you want to like add there?
So there are many points when you are
Okay.
starting. Like, a few points to remember is, make sure you don't have those roadblocks in your head. Uh,
Hmm.
the the most important roadblock in your mind today is, if I start doing something,
Hmm.
will people like it or no? Forget it. Don't think about it. Like, you started your podcast with the, I don't think you had that blockage in your mind that will people listen to it or no. But you had a focus that I
Yeah.
want to share something with the audience where they can learn at scale about what the experts are doing, and I want to create a platform there that they can rely and invest that 45 minutes or an hour too. So that's what you thought, and you never thought that, oh, it would work or no. So stop thinking about those things when you are trying to build a community, because with a podcast, what you've done is now you're having a certain set of number of folks who want to listen to different leaders weekly, or bi-weekly, who are coming on the show, and they would be interested also to see who's next, and because they're
Yeah.
learning constantly, and you're having good topics in mind. So I feel keeping that focus is super important about the topics when you're building a community. Make sure you don't have those roadblocks in your mind. It won't like, forget it, just start off, and then in the journey you'll start learning, and you'll also have a good community about a certain topic. Like, every topic has a community. Talk about SQL, talk about Python, talk about
Yeah.
any other thing, AI, machine learning, everything, everywhere. There are professionals, and so many professionals working in these different types of communities, and they always have to want to upscale, learn. Like, even a professional who has like 20 years of experience will never say I've learned it all. They will be
Yeah.
happy to hear those who are new, because obviously they come with a modernized approach, and also those who maybe 10 years more, who has 10 years more experience than them. They would also listen to them, because they are at a stage where they are experienced, they're very seasoned, and have that type of, you're on the same line, so they'll be
Yeah.
happy to listen to those types of people as well. So you're already building that community. It's more on the lines that focus on content is another big thing, that understand those gaps, and understanding those gaps is no big deal, because I'm sure with you also go out and listen, learn from various publications,
Yeah.
you listen to people, you read out posts, you understand what the problem is, you've worked in this space, so you know them firsthand. So you can always say that these are the problems that professionals face in daily life, and these are data engineering problems. If I start putting out 10 tips about it every day as well, they'll be like, there'll be like so much engagement there. They'll want to follow me. They'll also want to make sure that they're coming back to me. And once you kind of also feel that now, okay, people, you started creating content, people have, you are seeing that type of engagement, that's when you can do something which is bring them under one roof. It could be on Slack, it could be on WhatsApp, it could be on Discord, any other channel for that
Hmm.
matter. And then it's where you are actually opening doors for not only yourself but also for the community, because then you
Yes.
can have your own channels, the discussions. And but for that, like I mentioned, always have your focus right. If you are focusing on data engineering topics, just talk about it for a while, create a community, and then like, for even when we talk about businesses, they always focus on one problem, solve that one problem, create a product around it, make it a success. And they can, when they can say that confidently it's a champion product, that's when they actually go out and pivot a bit to something else and give that a
Yeah.
trial. So do that in community building as well. And I think that kind of goes a long way when you are thinking about community. And it's not that difficult to bring, obviously build a community as well. It's just that it needs time, it needs a little focus, it needs that attention, because it's not where you would want a community under one roof and then you can't keep it going.
Yes.
Make it a certain point where, okay, you are sharing something, what are you doing, or something which is keeping them interested. Maybe if you feel that, okay, we can have a job portal as well, where the vacancies that are coming outside, we'll be posting about that in the job portal, so people can also look at that. Or having a discussion channel about data engineering, so all the data engineers join, they can have that discussion,
Hmm.
or anything for that matter. So basically, keeping that community engaged is the second biggest step. And then it's more on the side where you keep hustling, you keep going, and have that. community believe in your content, do many more things. I'm actually coming up with a this actually gives me a good opportunity to plug my LinkedIn course that I'm coming up with, and it's gonna happen very soon, where I'll be talking a lot about building a tech community. So, and that's the topic as of now, at least until my producer from LinkedIn tells me, no, Ravit, this doesn't sound good. Let's go with something else. But I'll be actually
Hmm.
focusing everything around data community building, around tech community building, why it is important, the pros and cons, how to keep yourself motivated to be there, what are the important points that you need to keep in mind. So yeah, obviously folks can tune into that as well. Just considering the limited time we have today, these are my thoughts about data community building, or in general community building as well.
Yeah. No, that's great. So this is LinkedIn learning course you are saying you are about to roll out,
This
right?
is,
And when are you going
yes.
to release it?
So this should be out somewhere in September. It takes a little time because we're still in the script making. I'm writing the script and all of those
Okay.
things, and then the recording takes place. It's super professional with LinkedIn. They are amazing in terms of the content creation, the content topics. What's missing? They kind of also do all those types of things where they feel okay, this person what they actually do those trial runs as well. So it's always helpful when it comes out. The community actually finds it insightful, and even if they are
Yeah.
giving that 45 minutes, that's worth it. They get a certification as well. So yeah, I'm pretty excited to get that
Yeah.
started and bring it for the audience.
I think it's done in their studio, right?
It
They
is done.
ask you to join.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it is done in the studios, sometimes also virtually as well. But
Yeah.
let's see how it works for me.
I am looking forward to it because I remember Kate also had one released with them, and I've heard that. Like, I've been through that LinkedIn learning course.
Oh
So yeah,
wow,
that was
amazing.
great. It was power packed, and I'm looking forward to yours as well because like you also mentioned, everybody has their very unique proposition that comes with them, right? When I hear of Ravit, I know that, it's about masses. You can, like you were saying, that you have a content which talks about vast variety of genres. It could
Exactly.
be for beginners, it could be enthusiasts, somebody who's already into it but wants to upskill, as well as to the executives level. So how do you cater to these different dimensions? It's a full spectrum actually.
Yeah, so friends play a very important role when you're going out, and like I can't be master of all, to be honest. And if
Okay.
people expect me, like, Ravi, do you know about this topic? Do you know about this topic? And I'm like, no, I can't know everything. Like, if
Yes.
I know everything, like one can't know everything. So I
It's a
always
breadth
say,
versus depth. You can't go that deep. If you go deep, then you become like PhD kind of a mindset. You need to cover breadth, then you can't know everything with breadth as well.
then I
Yeah.
won't be able to cater to a lot of audience as well. Like
Yes.
if I, because if I get into the beginner level, I'll be like, I'm not a technical guy. If someone asks me
Yeah.
to actually go and write, one line of code, I'll be like, even if I know Hello World, I wouldn't write it, because then people would start expecting me to do that. I can't do that. But one
Yes.
thing that I can do is give you that platform where you can do that, give you those resources where you can write it easily. So I can be
Hmm.
that connector to you. And that's what I can do from my end. But when you're talking about, different types of levels of people as well, like the senior level folks, you need to keep in mind they want something which is advanced. They don't want to learn about something which is basic. So
Yes.
making sure that type of content is also coming out is always helpful when you have that types of friends as well in the industry. It plays a very important role when you are years into it. Like, I know for a
Yeah.
fact where Vidhi, I sometimes come back to you as well. Like, do you have this knowledge, or do you have this,
Yes.
talking around the years of experience that you have in data engineering? I can, easily come back and say that, oh, I know Vidhi, she might be helpful. So those types of, it's not only just you, but if there's data scientist, or if there's someone who's just cracked an interview in data analytics, I can easily go back to that person and say that, okay, I have this problem, or I see a lot of questions around why SQL, and why people should be doing SQL. Do you think this material is helpful, because this is from this person and this person wants to put it out? And what are the gaps there that you see? Because I want to make sure that I'm putting out something which is relevant for the audience
Hmm.
today. So when you were interviewed, how much, if you see, look at this document, how much does it help you? And if that person feels this is very authentic, it does make sense, it has over and above what I went out and, if
Hmm.
I would have had this document, it would have been amazing as well. So
Yeah.
I just go out, put it out. So there are a little filters that go behind the scenes, and I never
Hmm.
take that full credit as well. My friends are, if you have that data community around, and you'll make a lot of friends, and you can always learn from them. But like I always mention, I can't learn everything. And
Yeah.
then being in this industry for years, when you talk to people, when you learn from friends, when you get suggestions, when then you kind of also feel a little confident about suggesting a few things, because you've seen that multiple
Time
times.
and
Like
again.
I
Yeah.
time and again I see like questions on, talking about say someone who wants to break into data science. I get these questions daily, 5 questions from 5 different people in
Yeah.
5 different ways. That one could be, straight, okay, how can we get break into data science? The other one is
Hmm.
like, okay, I have 2 years of, I've completed my graduation. Now I'm 2 years into the data. I'm doing my engineering. How can I pivot my career into data engineering or data scientist? So it's like same problems that the
Yeah.
beginners have. They are trying to find the starting point from getting from A to B. I'm just a person who can tell them that, okay, these are the 4 places where you can put
Hmm.
your thought process. But again, understanding on what you want to do, where your expertise lie. It could be mathematics for a few folks, it could be something else for others. So those things need to be understood. It's, obviously data science and analytics, AI is a huge hype for students out there.
Yeah.
They kind of feel that, okay, we want to just get into this field because this field has money, this field has so many options, this field has something else. Sometimes you get super famous around this field if you kind of come up with innovation. This field has opportunities as well when we're thinking of jobs. But understanding if it is the right fit is also very crucial. And then there's a huge debate as well about, people talking about taking certifications from different colleges or different institutions or different places. And I'm like, I don't know, whatever suits you. For me, what I have seen so many friends even doing their PhDs, or even doing their masters from MIT, Harvard. They're doing amazingly well. Some are startups now. But a few of them who haven't even studied like from any university, but they might have just taken a course which is from a third party. And by third party, what I mean, it could be an institute which is online learning, and they've done that and learned a lot from YouTube, and
Hmm.
they're still making good money. They're still in the good place. They might be competing with these who are from MITs or Harvard as well. So I feel it depends on you. What do you feel like? If you are not interested in college at all, don't go. Maybe you can also do all of these
Yeah.
things on your own. And there's so much free material. There's so much paid material as well. So you don't need to. At least from where I see, not like I'm encouraging anyone that you shouldn't go to college. Obviously, if you feel right about that, do that. But it's not a necessity. That's what I would say.
Yeah, I think over last 4 to 5 years, I can say that the education or the knowledge has been so much democratized. The information is available everywhere. First, like you don't really
Right,
need to
right.
have a course per se from an institute to just do everything. It's available, and within that as well, there are different tiers. Like it's free material as well, and then you choose your path basically from there onwards. Now,
Exactly.
when you were telling me about evangelism, one thing that clicked with me was that evangelist role is more like an enabler. So you are enabling people, like if they want to do something, you are handling their questions and queries and putting them on the right path, which is because a
Right.
lot of queries come to you and largely you know how to maneuver their journeys.
Yeah.
And by the way, when you were telling me about friends, just pass on some of your friends to me.
Wow.
All right. Yeah. So friends, I think goes back to our network, the beautiful network that you have curated, Ravit, over the last few years. And I think it's a really commendable job. And people
Okay.
rightly say that network is a net worth. And somewhere when you were
True.
mentioning about Elon Musk, right, I was just thinking that not that I am going to call him, and I don't know even if I send the invite, he'll accept it or not. But I just, was very intrigued. There was a point where you mentioned that it shouldn't just be about numbers, which is what was different when you told me, right? That it shouldn't be only numbers when you make your first pitch, which is opposite to what generally people say, that the execs or the senior folks are super busy and just talk straight to the point about numbers. So it is a different concept. And when you told me that when you put on the plate, on the table, what they want to hear, that means you're doing a
Right.
lot of research about them. So do you do that for every person you reach out to? You tend to learn about what they might be going through, and draft your intent accordingly.
Very good question, Vidhi. I feel, in terms of understanding and reaching out, I think that's my research. I kind of take, I do it very diligently about
Okay.
what people are looking for. If a company, say, I don't want to name any of my partners, but okay, if there's a company which is in data observability, I'll make sure what type of problems they are solving versus what the competitors are solving, and get those points which they are solving, which none of their competitors are solving, is your starting point where you can actually bring that up in the
Mm-hmm.
conversation, that this is what I feel, because that's your, and trust me, these executives know the game very well, where and how they differentiate from their competitors. And if you write those points which actually hit what they are, which is actually their USP, it will definitely click very well with them. And
Yeah.
you need to do that research. That's the hard part. You need to go
Yeah.
out, do that research, make sure you're getting those points. Sometimes it's a little different, so you need to manage it according to the scenario there. Like, it
Mm-hmm.
could be where and you need to be smart about the timing as well. Like, sometimes it's the busy season, not like, and I wouldn't say that, okay, I've invited 100 folks or 100 execs, so all 100 have been on my show. No, not at all. That's not possible at all. You might get a few ghosting. You might feel a few of the leaders who are super excited to be on the, and a few who don't feel kind of related to your audience. So you can never master this, but at the same time, if you go out and do your research, sometimes and most of the times, to be honest, it's easier,
Hmm.
because you have researched it well, and that's what they look at, that, oh, it's not just another interview, rather this person knows about the game very well, and if he wants to bring us on, on the show, this is what they want to talk specifically about, which is our strong bit.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I don't just focus on the strong bit. When I have that discussion off air as well, before, like, the show, I always mention that, okay, these are the topics I would want to discuss. It's not limited to just the differentiation or your USP. Rather, we would want to also talk about the space in general, about what you think
Hmm.
about the space, because those are the thought leaders. And just talking about their USPs kind of doesn't make sense.
Yes. Yeah.
At just talking about that, like, obviously they can, and it's not like, it's like my, the leaders who come as well, they are pretty strong in terms of understanding that they don't want to come and talk about the products and services. They rather want to talk about the space in general. They want to talk about what's in the future, and then a bit about what the differentiation we were talking about. So it all goes well with them. So I think those are that's the research you need to do for sure.
Yeah.
If you are getting into a conversation with a leader at least for an hour, that's what you expect, then please know where they are sitting, and what's sometimes they also always share plans, what they are intrigued about, what they are interested in. So all those topics you can bring together
Yeah.
in a document, and then write a very cool message. No one has a, and you don't even have to write like 3 or 4 paragraphs of email to these execs. They
Yeah.
don't they don't have the time to read it. Just write it
Yeah.
in one paragraph, 4 5 lines about what you're thinking. If it's gonna work, for sure, like I mentioned, 90% of the execs do read it, or the assistants do read it. they find a little intriguing as well, they'll definitely respond, and that's where you've got your hook.
Okay, and what has been your success rate? Like how many times have you reached out, for example, out of 100,
I
how many people have agreed?
I think I have, I've had a pretty good success rate. At least what I feel, which is at least 70% of the times I've seen that I've got a response from the folks that I am, reaching out to. Touch
Hmm.
wood on that. I feel that's a huge
Yeah,
number. Like,
70% is a good number. Yeah.
good number. Like, I don't feel, and sometimes I can't believe it myself. But then I kind of, obviously also realize that, it's when you create that good guarded line for execs as well, when you're writing an email, it always works for them because it gives them a, like, I don't want to, like, my show is never about controversy. I'm like the last
Yes,
person to talk about controversial things. I don't like it.
absolutely.
And I've also had Indian CEOs like Bharat Pay, and there was a big riff which was going on when Shark Tank India came out, and all of those things. In their PR team actually told me that can we not have that type of
Yes,
discussion? I'm like, I don't want to have that discussion, to be
because your
honest. And
community is not about it. Yeah.
my community won't want to learn about those things. They'll be actually wanting to learn about how does data work at Bharat Pay, how does
Yeah.
data science, how do you manage so many users, how does UPI kind of looks like when you're working in data science and AI, about your engineering team. They're just interested in that. If I talk about something else, it's not going to work. So
Yeah.
I feel if you put them in a guarded line about what you want to discuss, and you're very clear up to point that this is what we want and this is what I'm expecting, and these are the topics that I see would be my community would be super interested in. I think that's what I've also focused always, and maybe that's why the 70% response rate, and I hope it goes over and above only.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's going to go up, Ravit. Like considering the honesty with which you put content all out there, it's gonna make sense. And has this trend kind of improved over time because you have more support from the community? So initially it might not have been 70% always, right? So have you seen that
Right.
improving? Yeah.
Very true. And that's a very good point because it never happens. Like, don't expect it to go like have that 70% just in a day. I
Yeah.
remember when I put out like 10 emails, say in the first week itself, I put out 10 emails and I just got two responses. That's 20%. So
Yeah.
you know how it kind of works. But today, if I put out at least 100 emails after doing 100 researches about
Yes.
people, so then at least I can say that okay, I can get 70% response rate either from the executive or from their PR team, marketing team,
Hmm.
and it totally depends again. If I out of those 100 people, if I choose 30 people out of data science and AI, they're not going to respond. 30 out of 100, 30% fails there itself without the focus of people, and you've just got
Yes.
over and above. So you need to be very careful about whom you're choosing. If it's kind of related to what you want to discuss, again goes back to something which I told you about, is where your community lies, what do you want to talk about, have that focus. So that's pretty important, I feel. But
Yeah.
truly, it's not gonna have like 70% from day one.
Yeah.
And maybe with it depends on how many people you're reaching out to. Sometimes people say that okay, I reached out to 1,000 people. Why do you have to reach out to 1,000 people? Rather reach out
No.
to 100 people with a good research. And by 100, I think I've just gone about 130, 140 plus interviews, and not like I've reached out to everyone. Obviously, we have a team as well. My wife works behind the scenes for the Ravit show. She's the co-founder. But at the same time, if she's done her research, I've done my research. It takes years to do that in
Yes.
terms of getting that success rate as well. And still, if we go out in a hurry and go out and shoot out emails to people and say that, oh, please be on a show, it won't work, to be honest,
Yeah.
because you've not spoken about something which would touch on what they are looking for and what they are enthusiastic about. So I feel that's very important.
Yeah. So templatization doesn't work. You
No,
can't.
it's a whole thing. I think the executives are like the first one because they get
Sharp people.
emails from
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
very sharp from day one. They've been, and they teach the salespeople how to go
Yes.
out and reach out. So how can you fool them? You need to be very authentic. You need to be very authentic when you're reaching out. You need to have
Yes.
your own voice. You need to be put out that email with all heart, even if it doesn't turns out to be in
Yeah.
favor. That's okay. It's you've not lost anything, but if you don't go out and try, you've lost a lot of things. So try.
Yeah.
That's what I always say.
Yeah, and Ravi, somewhere when you mentioned like you along with your partner, you do a lot of homework in terms of researching and then curating it accordingly, which is like a customization you do every time for the person that you reach out to, right? These are the skills, the research skills and the soft skills. Like everybody might have done the same research, but they might not be able to put it out using the right set of words, right? So these are again the
Exactly.
soft skills which are maybe tying back to my point, are not really taught in school. You learn, like you're saying, comes with a lot of years of experience.
And also talking to a lot of people, because what happens is, like I mentioned, when you first step, obviously when you are trying to build a community, but now when you've built a community, you kind of also meet a lot of people
Yes.
who come from different first of all professions, just in data itself or AI itself, and then they have a certain opinion about certain things, and
Yeah.
those can happen, and not only just in your community. You can go out and join other community and learn a lot as well, that
Yeah.
okay, what emails they get, what type of sales people approach them, what they like, what they don't like. So all those things are kind of silent learning that you're already doing, but you
Yeah.
need to be open to that type of learning as well. Sometimes you can also go out to people who are into sales and say that, okay, what has been your best hook for a person to be interested in your product, or if you've sold something to
Yeah.
Airbnb, what was your that what was that email that actually took off?
Yeah.
Because all other companies are also doing that the same way, and maybe your cost is way above them, but it still took off. Obviously
Hmm.
the product is same, you're offering same features, everything, but you made the difference. So what was it?
Yes.
So you can always learn from them. You can look at those emails, you can take inspiration, you can go out and do it yourself. But I think the biggest thing, like I wouldn't like not everyone would share their journeys. Some would, if you're closer in the community, if you're making that type of relationships, because there'll be a lot of friends, there'll be a lot of relationships you'll be making through the journey. But the best, I would say, even if you don't have such type of things, go out and do trial and errors in the start itself. You have that
Yeah.
opportunity. You're not gonna lose anything again. So you have that opportunity. You can give it a trial with multiple variations in just one email or one messaging, and see what works the best. What's like the hook? Again, I wouldn't say it works. The same messaging works for everyone.
Yes.
It's so again, if it would have worked for everyone, it would have been a template, but it doesn't work with everyone. You'll still go have to do that research, but it will. The learning kind of happens through people itself. The
Yeah.
silent learning always helps. Read things, what people like, what people don't like. Try to incorporate those types of changes in your writing style or the way you talk. It could be sometimes it's also on the lines where you've got a call with an exec. Now you need to understand from what mindset they're coming. Obviously, giving if they've booked a meeting for 30 minutes, for me at least, what I try to close down is in 15 minutes I'll give you all the brief about the show, and I'll wrap that up for you. That those 15 minutes would be a good breather for you. And because obviously they have back-to-back meetings and they are super busy, so those
Yeah.
15 minutes they'll actually understand, oh, this was super quick. Ravit was kind of really gave us the main points about what he wanted to discuss. He'll be discussing about these, how it will work, what's the place where it will be streamed live, who would be the audience, and what would be the promotional aspects that would go in, and how things will work out. It always worked very well that way. So, and again,
Yes.
why I haven't, this is something that I've understood from by actually talking to executives offline but online as well, that for them, and it might have happened that I might have gone maybe in a meeting I might have gone about 30 minutes of that time, and in the next minute it was like, okay, Ravit, I have a hard stop, I need to jump. And
Yeah.
that's why I understood that, okay, so what I need to do is make it a bit of compact. And that was my trial and error, because I went out on a spree explaining everything in detail, showing everything in detail, talk about the important points, and then give them that breather with execs. Some people are way different, they want every detailing, they don't want that fast
Hmm.
track. So you can always ask them that, do you have like a hard stop? This could be with the execs as well. That, do you have a hard stop in 30 minutes? And then accordingly, you can tweak your time. These are basic things, but very powerful. Trust me, when you are building that, and they'll be happy to recommend you at places as well. So that's also opening up future opportunities for you. So always keep that in mind, I would say.
Yes, I think being prepared is the key. You be prepared for whichever version they want you to show up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that it's not at all hard. You like,
Yes.
again, if you're a people's person, you like it.
Yeah.
So tweak it according to what people want you to, be at that moment, and
Mhm.
make it, since they are helping you, make it important for them, I feel.
Absolutely, I think, yeah. So I think being people centric is what this skill is all about, be it about the community
True.
or the people you are connecting the community to. Yeah. And
Very
Ravi,
true.
when you mentioned that the mail or everything, right? 90% of the execs, they end up opening it them or their team, right? And which makes me tell that, first impression makes a lasting one. So, for example, if you don't receive the response in the first time, so this is a question coming from my interest. Maybe I don't know whether the
Yeah.
community would want to hear that. But how long do you keep trying before giving up? Like it might sound like pestering, or it might sound like they actually missed out on seeing your mail. So how many attempts is good enough?
So usually I would suggest go for two more attempts.
Okay.
That's your right. You can try that.
Yeah.
And what I also do is I track all my emails, so I know who reads it when and who's doing what. Now I've told it on record, so people might not even open if they don't want to my email. But I do track. I have a tracker, so I can always see, and all the execs, everyone have trackers as well. So
Mhm.
you need to, you can give it a shot at least once or twice more, because genuinely everyone's busy, and there could
Yes.
be someone's on vacation, they might be having some other priorities at the time, they might be responding to you but have got missed, and this happens with us as well. So it
Absolutely.
could
Yeah.
it could happen with anyone. So but if you are persistent about something that you would want someone on the show, I would at least try another two times, so that's like two follow-ups.
Mhm.
In if it doesn't work after that, because I've been in a scenario where
Hmm.
I've actually invited someone huge, I won't name him, but that person I pinged for the first time and then the second time as well. And then after 2 weeks, 2 weeks of silence, I still didn't hear, and I was like, okay, let's try, let's give it this attempt as well. And I went out and I was like, uh, obviously I don't want to be pestering about anything, or but I really feel I should be hosting you or something on those lines. And that person was like, again, big silence, nothing. And then after, I guess, almost a month or something, that person comes back to me, so sorry about the delay in my response, Ravit. I was out for on a world tour for last 1.5 month, and now I'm getting back to all these. I hope we can still do the interview, and your proposal looks very intriguing. So happy to get the ball rolling. Just let me know the date and time. It's a game changer. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay, sometimes you kind of kind of start feeling that, oh, this person has, and I, even though I had tracked those emails, I had seen those opens, it was maybe his team, but they didn't know if he would be interested or no. So that's when, when he came back, obviously his team might have given him a list of emails that kind of looked intriguing.
Yeah.
One was mine. It worked very well with him. We got a response. I met him. Very cool guy, amazing person, very chilled out. Not the way you kind of think around when you sending out emails. But also, if what I also suggest is, like, just one suggestion for those folks who feel that, okay, Ravit, we have a good we we want to invite this person, and we have a good community, and you can also find some mutuals who might be connected with that person, and those mutuals can also help you bring in a lot of
Hmm.
interest from that person if it they believe in your work. So
Yeah.
that's like a good opportunity, an easy way out if you can get those introductions. And but still, again, it will be your impression when you get on that podcast pre podcast call, and then that show preparation and all of those things. So how you bring that up will be important again. So you'll have to still do your research. So
Yeah.
that's important. But yeah, that's been the response rate, the follow ups that I feel you can always do.
Yeah, that's amazing. I think I am kind of now sensing how much of, how difficult it is to actually pull off all these multiple hats that you do, being a people person, reaching out to people, the way you personalize that attempt that you do for every person, and then bringing back the content that the people want to really make use of, right? So it's a big responsibility. And I had a lot of takeaways, Ravit, from today's session, like something that I don't personally know, that I've spoken to someone and know this much of information from somebody who's leading a big community. So with this, we've come towards the end of the show. But before you leave us, right, Ravit, I want to know what would be your advice to folks who are entering into the data industry. I know a lot of people would have asked you this question, but instead of everyone asking you this question separately, let me do it once and once and for all of them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, for sure. I think
Yeah.
one thing is for sure is, like you mentioned something in your, previously as well, that build your network, that's your net worth. I totally believe it, because when you have a strong network, trust me, you can go places, you can open up, that will only open up a lot of opportunities for you in this space. That will also give you a lot of guidance. Start following those who are leaders in the space, but not only just that, also those who have just got a job. Try to also take up some inspiration from them. What were the best practices when they were attempting for a lot of interviews? Also, those who are wanting to break into it and are just getting there, those could be those folks, and learning from those could be a good starting point as well, because they'll tell you sometimes all these things what we are talking sounds bookish, and the real practical world works a little different way. So
Yes.
those people will always help you to understand what an interviewer thinks when you are kind of sitting in there, or what the space is looking like if they have worked in that space for 5 years as a data scientist, and if it's moving into data engineering. So, and everyone's talking about data engineering suddenly, and no one's talking about data scientists. So what's gone wrong? Is it like where things are changing? No, things are not changing. It's the same. It's just that the hype has moved towards data engineering now.
Yes.
The roles are still the same. The data scientists are still in demand. They're still being well paid. So the difference is nothing. So sometimes you need to also not believe in the hype, rather meet people, talk to them, talk to the data scientists, talk to the hiring managers, build your good network out there. That's like a good starting point to at least learning from the real people, because again, in the end, it's the human who will be sitting opposite as well when you are being interviewed. And if you have that knowledge, sometimes skills also take a back seat. Like, skills are always important, I'm not saying, but it can take a back seat when you have the right knowledge about
Mhm.
about certain problems that the industries are facing, and if you're looking to solve that problem with a skill. But if you know that as well, that's a huge benefit. So for you to break into it, like if it's your first interview, so you have that understanding with the network, you have that. And I think reading books, following publications, trying to create your own voice, even as a student on LinkedIn, is a very good thing. Don't
Mm.
hesitate. Don't run behind likes, followers. All those things are like secondary. You will get it over if you want it. If you will, obviously, but if your focus is to get break into the space, it shouldn't move to something where you are running behind followers or creating your own
Yeah.
community, because then that's your focus. You need to be
Yeah.
focused on that. Rather, if this is your focus, just make sure that you are following right people, and all of those things would help you to definitely break into this space. But again, there are various aspects. There is no one roadmap for a certain person. Everyone creates their own roadmaps, but just keep in mind your strong points, write it down, learn from YouTube. There are so many interviews, so many people talking about their experiences about how to break into data science. These things are very helpful. If you still want any help, I'm happy to help. Feel free to reach out. I always, even if I get 5 messages about this daily, I'm always happy to help in any way possible. I might be a little late to reach out back and all of those things, but happy to help. So don't hesitate to reach out.
Definitely. I think, yeah, coming from you, Ravit, it makes all the difference. And thank you for joining today. From you,
Thank you.
coming from the person who has led such a big community, I think people are going to have a lot of takeaways. And I'm looking forward to the day I release this episode.